Hello and welcome to Long Beach Lens. I'm your host, Derek J. Simpson, Executive Director of the Long Beach Community Action Partnership. Our first guests are from the Workforce Development Department at Long Beach City College. Please join me in welcoming Melissa Infusino and Veronica Rodriguez. Welcome, ladies.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having us.
Yes, it's my pleasure, and I'm excited to have you. Veronica and I go way back in terms of my life before this life here at Long Beach Community Action Partnership, and Melissa, you and I have met in the course of doing our respective work in the community. But for those who aren't aware, let's first talk about what is your role at Long Beach City College and how does that connect with the community?
Absolutely. I've been the Director of Workforce Development at the college now for about 3 years. And we have a large portfolio of work, and what I wanted to talk in particular about today are our short-term training programs.
Okay.
And Veronica actually has a really important role in overseeing that work, and we can talk in detail about those. But broadly, workforce development is involved in providing short-term training to the community. We also provide corporate training to different individual businesses who need training done either on-site or at our facilities at the college. We also run a number of grants in which we will provide specific training in partnership with our local WIB, such as Pacific Gateway. But we're also now moving into an area where we're doing a lot of industry engagement on behalf of our career technical education programs. So we've been working really closely with all of our different departments to do internship and job placement activities, creating a new job board for job postings, and engaging industry into our credit programs to make sure that we're really teaching the most current technology, the most current trends in the industries. So really it's about making sure we're connecting folks in the community, folks who are enrolled in the college, with the most up-to-date and current training and education to meet the needs of the workforce.
And when you say short term, what is a typical length of a class for those who might be curious?
Sure. So different from enrolling in the college and taking maybe a semester or even a degree where you're there for 2 years, we're talking about training that is anywhere from maybe 60 to 150 hours. Okay. So some of our training programs can be 7 weeks, maybe four days out of the week. Folks are there. You can still have a job and also come to the training, but we're really targeting individuals who are looking for a short-term fix, making sure that we can get them into training that's very specific to an industry. And then we also provide job placement. So Veronica works with a wide variety of industry partners to make sure that she's meeting their needs and matching students up with those jobs.
So Veronica, take us through that. Like, if I'm that person in the community, I've heard about one of these great programs that are offered, I come to City College to sign up, I'm assuming I come to you or your colleagues. How does that process work?
So the first step would be for everyone to attend an orientation where it's more of an informational session where they get to learn all about the training. We let them know of the schedule, the length of the course, eligibility requirements. So all the details that they need to know to be able to enroll into the program. We provide the registration on site. So if they decide that, after hearing about the program they want to enroll, then we'll do the registration there. If there's any assessment that needs to be done for the specific program, then we do assessments there. And then we put our students through some screening process, which involves some interviews with myself to ensure that it's a good fit for them and that they're aware of the different programs that are offered at Long Beach as well. And then they go through a final interview with our employer partners, which will make the final selection for our programs.
So employer partners are on the front end of this as well as on the back end of this. Does that help to enhance the probability of success with the employer partners being up front?
Yes, it definitely does, because they are reviewing the applicant's application, and they get to ask them questions, and based on their responses, the employers get to learn about the students and begin networking with them.
Now, do you find that if I'm coming, you talk about registration and intake, is there anything I need to bring with me to be sure that I'm prepared for this process, or just show up with my ID and everything else works out?
So we provide the students with an email that provides them a list of documents to bring. There is eligibility criteria, so as long as they have right to work documentation, they'll bring that to the orientation, and they'll register on site.
Perfect, perfect. Now, Melissa, as we were preparing for the show and just chatting here, you mentioned that there are 3 specific elements of the program that you would like to talk about, and we had a couple of photos to accentuate that. And so one of them was construction, and then we had heavy-duty mechanics and commercial truck driving. Give us some insight on those.
Sure, sure. Well, one of the things that you had asked Veronica about now was the role of the employer partners and the role of industry. And actually with those 3 programs in particular, we partnered directly with local employers who had a need to fill hard to fill jobs and said, can you help us create a short-term training program where we can partner with you to design the curriculum and then be a part of interviewing folks and then placing folks in jobs. So with each of those programs, the curriculum was really developed in partnership with the employers and leads directly to jobs in those industries.
Okay, do you find that the employers are happy with this opportunity to be involved all the way through the process? Do you find that that really gets them excited about even more employers getting involved with you?
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think Veronica can really give testament to that. She's been involved with all of those programs from the very beginning. But in our meetings specifically around the heavy-duty pre-apprenticeship program that we're doing with Quinn Caterpillar and other employer partners, they were really at the table from the very beginning looking at specific job occupations that they had, looking at the skills that they needed. We did roundtable discussions with employers to talk very specifically what kind of competencies we would need to build into the program, and then wrote it from scratch. Wrote everything that we needed to do, and it's 150 hours for that program in particular. And what's exciting is we will receive grants to pilot these programs, and then if we see there's a real demand both from students who are interested and then from employers who want to hire, we can then institutionalize the program at the college and turn it into a credit certificate. And that's exactly what we've done with the construction program. So next year, students will be able to enroll and take the construction program and use financial aid, and it will be a part of the regular portfolio of courses that are offered at Long Beach City College.
Now, when you and I first met, it was about the project labor agreement and local hire, and I know that that's something that's still under your role there at the college. For those who don't know, can you share how you're involved with that and how people who are watching might want to get involved if they are interested in what you're about to share?
Absolutely. So with our pre-apprenticeship or our apprenticeship readiness construction program, we designed something in partnership with the Building Trades Council. And it was really to meet the needs of the growing construction industry. We had a real downturn probably 10 years ago with construction slowing down, but there's a huge uptick now. And a lot of bond-funded and publicly funded projects throughout the region also have what is in place under project labor agreements, a local hire mandate. So many times it can be 20 to 30% of the folks who are working on those jobs have to come from the local community. And in particular, a lot of times they're looking at very specific zip codes and looking at communities that maybe are underserved and don't traditionally have access to those jobs. So it's our job, and in particular Veronica really goes out into the community, works with community partners to make sure that we're telling folks about these opportunities, and then they can go through the process of learning at the orientation and then signing up for the construction program. And that one is about 7 weeks long. And then we work very closely with the Building Trades Council, who oversees a number of different trade unions and partners, or I shouldn't say oversees, but partners with a number of the different trade unions, who then will come into the classroom. We do tours of their apprenticeship training centers, and folks can then actually apply for the apprenticeship and then start working, whether it's the plumbers or the pipe fitters or the cement masons.
Wow. I know when we first met as well, you talked about one of the barriers oftentimes is that there's a 7th grade level math requirement, and oftentimes people have problems getting through that. Veronica, may I ask you, when you go out into the community and you talk with agencies like us, how can we be supportive in wrapping around potential participants of this program to help you be successful in what you do in your outreach?
I think what would be helpful for us is to have the community know and understand what the requirements are for our programs. And that way, when you're meeting with the individuals, you already know what is required for them to be able to be enrolled into these programs or be successful.
Okay. And is that information, Melissa, that is readily available? Like for us here, we get upwards of 2,000 or more people a year coming through our door for utility assistance. Is there something that we can do to help better educate our constituents and share that with our colleagues?
Absolutely. We, folks can go to our website and we can give you all that information to find out what all the prerequisites are for enrolling in those. But I think more importantly, we should say that, you know, there's always opportunities to enroll in the college for any kind of remedial math courses. And so if folks come to us and they don't quite make that 7th grade, we also provide additional math support while they're in the training. But we will work with partners who have a certain group of folks that maybe need extra support to enroll them in the college for that remedial work, because we don't want to leave them without an option. We want to help them to get into that place.
Okay, and we only have a minute left, but if you had that elevator pitch for someone out there who's watching, what would you say to them about getting involved with your program at Long Beach City College? Don't
wait. We run training programs all the time. I can't tell you how many graduations I've been to where folks stand up there with tears, their family is around, they've brought their kids, their parents, they're in a suit, and they're thrilled because they were able to really endure, make it through those few weeks. It goes by in a flash, and they have a job.
Great. Thank you so much to the both of you for joining us. We're out of time, but we're going to stay in touch and have you back again to talk about successes.
Thank you.
We'll take this short break, and when we come back, we will talk to Cindy Fowler from Coastal Catalyst. Stay tuned for more of Long Beach Lens. Welcome back. I'm Derek J. Simpson. Our next guest is the change agent for Coastal Catalyst. Please join me in welcoming Sydney Fowler. How are you?
Hi, Derek. How are you? It's great to meet you.
I'm great. I was taking my time being sure I got that correct because I'm intrigued. And
Coastal Catalyst.
Coastal Catalyst. Tell us about you first, and then let's get into what Coastal Catalyst is all about.
Yes. Isn't life interesting?
It is, very.
Because I spent my entire career since I was 19 years old in the fashion industry.
Ah.
I was in the retail business, and I learned all about apparel and accessories, and I did everything from buying to actually merchandise manager, which is actually running a team of buyers to buy a
Okay.
certain category.
Okay.
And so basically you're able to actually own your own business without owning your own business.
I see.
In those days, it was department stores, and I worked for several different department stores, and I also worked for major fashion brands. But one day I decided I wanted to do something different, and like so many people, you're looking at a blank piece of paper and going, what in the heck will I do? I've been doing this for over 30 years. Why? What could I possibly do that's not this? So I had this idea, and I got the idea, I was inspired by a couple of things. I was inspired by going to a holistic Chamber of Commerce meeting. Now, I knew what a Chamber of Commerce was, and I was at this point trying to figure out what I would possibly do in my life. And I said, well, let me check out what this holistic chamber is about. Okay. And while I was there, I was inspired by the amazing businesses in Long Beach. This is Holistic Chamber of Commerce in Long Beach. And I said, someone has to do something to help these businesses. And then one day, after going to the third meeting, I went, maybe you're supposed to help these businesses.
Now, before we go further then, what's the difference between a holistic Chamber of Commerce and the Chamber of Commerce as we typically know it?
Yeah, the typical Chamber of Commerce allows any kind of business, whether it's a major corporation with franchises, whether it was born and bred in Long Beach or not. A Chamber of Commerce is for a city, any business that's there. It could be the H&R Block, it could be Chick-fil-A,
Okay.
It could be any business. A holistic chamber is going to have businesses that are probably more homegrown, and holistic means mind, body, spirit. So it's part of this whole idea that we are more than just our bodies, or more than just our minds, or more than just our spirit. That it's a way of approaching business where you're taking into account your heart, your mind, and your spirit. So these businesses are things like acupuncture. It could be meditation. It might be hospice care. So these are amazing businesses that are not giant corporations. These are individual, what I call entrepreneurs. These are people that are drawn to create a business not because they feel they can make a killing in terms of money, but they're doing it out of express their passion that they want to help people. They want to express their passion. And they, of course, want to sustain their families as well, but that's not their number one idea.
And you heard about this at a conference in Spain?
No, actually, I went to a meetup group. I went on Meetup and I said, I'm looking to try to find another way to make a living.
Okay.
And this group was meeting called the Holistic Chamber. So I went to see the meetings 2 or 3 times, and then I said, let me help you. So from that, I got inspired that really what these businesses need was a little resource guide, something
Okay.
like this.
Okay.
And from there, the idea became more than just this, because some people think this is an advertising vehicle. It is not. It is an advocacy group for these businesses. So
Okay.
it's a membership. So our mission is to connect the conscious consumer with the mindful business, and the mindful businesses with each other, and then connect them to the city of Long Beach.
So I'm curious, if someone's out there watching this interview and they want to put themselves in this scenario, give us a typical scenario that may come to mind of a potential consumer and a potential business and how that relationship might be formed to a mutual benefit.
Well, so initially my thought is that these businesses needed to be elevated to a higher level of visibility.
Okay.
And so that a book would be a good way to do that. But honestly, it's more than an ad in the Grunion Gazette.
Gotcha.
Because when you run an ad in the Grunion Gazette, you know, they don't care if you're a good business or a bad business. They don't ask you any questions, and all they want is, do you have the money for the advertisement? Give me your money, and then the relationship is over.
And that's typical of any paper for the most part.
Yes, and we are not an advertising vehicle. We never meant to be, and so we've had to change up our how we approach the business. But now we realize is that we're a 501c3 nonprofit.
Okay.
We're an advocacy group for these businesses. So we feel that if we all unite, we're going to be stronger. Right now, these individual businesses are all over Long Beach. So as a side thing, I also wanted to connect all the bits of Long Beach, because people in Belmont Shore don't go to Bixby Knolls, and Bixby Knolls doesn't go to Belmont Shore. So I want to connect Northwest and East Long Beach all together. And we felt that this book would be a good way to do it. But we also have an online platform. And we have meetings. We have events called the Unity Salon. And what's so exciting is when you get all these businesses together, and they're basically from three circles. They're art, music, and creativity, holistic, and sustainable. And the reason those circles were specifically chosen is because there was a book called The Cultural Creatives, the 50 million people that are changing the world. And that's why we talk about being change agents, because these types of businesses are the ones that in the coming decades are going to be so important for our planet. The people that are cultural creatives value nature. They value people. They value relationships more than profit. So these are special kinds of businesses brought together so they can meet each other. And it's really exciting when they find, oh my gosh, you do acupuncture, I do massage. Well, sometimes my customers might need that.
So it's a reciprocal relationship.
So it's reciprocal relationships, and it's combining us together, because we become more important when we all unify and come together. All of a sudden, we seem to be a little more important, so that I can call Mayor Garcia on the phone and say, these 300 businesses that are part of Coastal Catalyst platform, we need a change in our business license, because the massage therapists are being charged double, because in the old days when you were a massage therapist, it meant something else, and they charged more to be that. And there's no reason for that. So these are all the kinds of things we can do to connect these businesses and the conscious consumer to the city of Long Beach and do things together. Honestly, I think all three of those come together in a really powerful way, because we are faced with issues and problems that we need to help solve. And these are creative solutions with these businesses.
Now, as I was reading about you, you talked about the importance of a glossary of terms.
Yes.
What is that, and why is that important?
Because education is so important in everything today. I believe that there are these cultural creatives that already know what a sound bath is. They know what acupuncture is. They know these terms. But there's the next level of consumers who have been hearing these terms like farm to table. What does that mean? And they would try it if they actually knew what it meant. So I felt that including a glossary of terms in the book and online would help these consumers find out what these words mean and give them more comfort to go, I'm going to try farm. What is farm to table? It doesn't mean vegetarian. Farm to table does not mean that at all necessarily. And what does vegetarian mean? And what does sound bath mean? And so by seeing what these terms mean, it helps them be more comfortable in trying that.
And you also talked about providing value and authenticity to this segment.
Yes.
How is that occurring?
Yes, because before there were all these just bunch of little businesses, and who cares about this little acupuncturist over here and this herbalist over here? I mean, people were not paying attention to them. By bringing them together and putting them in a unified structure, all of a sudden people can all know where to go for these kinds of homemade businesses that are incubate in Long Beach, probably better than any other place. And although Santa Monica and Venice get credit for having these kinds of businesses, it's actually Long Beach that's been incubating them for years, but getting no credit for it.
Now, here at our agency, Long Beach Community Action Partnership, we primarily serve those who are low-income citizens in our community. How will that segment of our community access these types of businesses and vice versa? How can we, as a nonprofit that helps people like that,
Yes. Yes, I mean,
refer?
we hear about food deserts, you know, where
We
there's
do.
no food anywhere. Why can't we start growing food? I mean, we know we can grow food in Long Beach and Compton. I mean, there's food everywhere. And so a lot of these businesses right now are in here are talking about producing local food. And what we'd also like to do is use Coastal Catalyst to help incubate businesses in parts of Long Beach that are currently underserved.
You can provide that type of support?
Yeah, so what
Okay.
we're trying to do right now is work with Farmers and Merchants Bank and see if we can't come together that way and build a whole incubation of businesses in places in Long Beach that don't have enough businesses.
And so people would just need to go online and look at your site to get connected and see what the next steps might
Yes,
be?
coastalcatalyst.org. We have a two-way dialogue going on there. You can join us. You can donate. You can do any number of things. But we're just getting off the ground. Literally, we're 1 year ago. We were sitting around a table, Marie and I, figuring out this whole business, and now it's going to become bigger. We're also
Now
going to
you're
be
on Long Beach land.
We're gonna be on KLBP every
All right.
week, and we have a series called Meet the Entrepreneurs of Long Beach.
There you
These
go.
are those passionate business owners. So week by week, the people of Long Beach can meet these amazing businesses.
Well, what you're saying sounds amazing and intriguing at the same time, and I thank you so much for coming on and sharing. We're out of time, but I'm not out of questions, so you've got to come back, okay?
I will do that.
All
Thank
right,
you,
I'd
Derek.
like to thank Melissa Infusino, Veronica Rodriguez, and our current guest, Sydney Fowler, for joining us on today's show. Be sure to follow PadNet TV on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram for the latest updates. We also welcome your comments and your thoughts regarding this show as we strive to make Long Beach Lands a favorite source of local news, information, and entertainment. This show has been brought to you with support from the Long Beach Community Action Partnership. Thank you for watching Long Beach Lands.